I found it. I can hardly believe that it was still there after all these years. I followed the instructions and there it was. Hmm, maybe it's just because we're related and I was meant to find it, but whatever. I found it and I have it. You see, my great grandfather was Walter Harvey Pugh. He was the grandson of Caroline Fidelia Calkins, who was the granddaughter of Lieutenant Simeon Calkins. Simeon's brother, Solomon Calkins, was the grandfather of Lucretia Calkins, who was the grandmother of Thomas Ephraim Thornton, who was the grandfather of Wayne Earl Hanson, who, with his uncle George Hanson, discovered the Timpanogos Middle Cave. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself, and I'd better back up and start where the story begins. My wife and I have lived in Highland for about 15 years. Our first home here bordered on the old dry creek that ran down the gully from the Highland Hills. When we downsized recently, we moved up the hill, and our property borders the same old creek. Since there has been less disturbance of the creek up in our new area, I thought I'd do some looking around to see what the creek up here was really like. The creek bed is much narrower here, but more natural, and the plants and the trees somewhat different from those down below. Being retired now and more master of my own time, I climbed down into the gully and started working my way through the scrub oak, weeds, and tules growing there. As I stumbled along, working my way near the bank, tripping on exposed rocks and roots and cursing under my breath the infernal nuisances I kept encountering, I nearly fell flat on my face as I caught my foot on something. I looked down at what I'd tripped on and found that I was looking at something that was not rock, root, or branch, but what looked like the corner of some kind of box. I looked more closely at what I had tripped on and began to brush away the dirt around the edges of the box. I was interested to see if it contained someone's name, address, phone number, or any such, and decided to find out just what was inside. Using a stick, I dug around the box and exposed enough to get my hands around it, and soon I had it out on the bank. What I had literally stumbled on was a small metal box. Turning back the lid, I found some cloth folded around some paper wrapped in plastic. Pulling out the bundled package, I found the paper had a ring holding it together, like a book. There was also a picture of a rock, but nothing to say what the picture meant. Intrigued by what I had discovered, I carefully placed the bundle back in the box and carried it to my home. On arriving home, I took a few minutes to look closer at what I had found. I am certain that you will find that what follows next will be difficult to believe. I won't try to convince you of the truth of this story, but let you believe what you will. The story is best told by the words written on the pages of the little book. My name is Wayne Earl Hanson. My Uncle George and I found the entrance to the Middle Cave in American Fork Canyon. At the entrance to the cave, we found some things that were just inside the mouth of the cave we had just discovered. I can only suppose that they were left there with the intention to return and retrieve them, but by who and when I don't know. I don't suppose that what we found is of great worth, but as I considered them, I thought that they might be of historical value, and so I collected them. I had no desire to gain material from what we found, but I was concerned that what was there might be stolen or used by some unscrupulous character or to his own aggrandizement or profit. There had been a lot of interest in the caves, as just recently the Timpanogos Cave had been discovered, not far from where my grandfather had discovered his cave, Hansen Cave. Loving the mountains and this area in particular, I felt it best to hide what I'd discovered until the cave fever died down. For many years, I kept the little cache we had found in a box at home. Around 1963, I had the impression that I should hide this little treasure. I felt that someday someone who could put it to some good use would find it. I found a small chest that seemed just the right thing to put the cache into. Having wrapped each piece separately, I tucked them into the chest and closed it up. I placed 4 locks on the chest, thinking that someday I might know what was the right thing to do with the chest. I hid it in the hills in Highland, where I frequently went to hunt. The 4 locks seemed fitting, one for those responsible for leaving the stash behind, one for Grandfather Martin having discovered the first cave, Hansen Cave, one for Verl Manuel, who rediscovered the Timpanogos Cave, and one for George and me for discovering Middle Cave. Since you've found this account, you will be able to find the Timp Cave cache chest. You can, of course, once you've located the chest, break it open and get the contents, but I hope you will climb the trail that leads to the caves. Over the years, the trail has been much improved, and along this new trail, I recently hid the keys that unlock the chest. By unlocking the chest with the keys, you will avoid losing some of what surely would spill out and be lost. Before I explain how to find the hidden keys, please understand that I'm leaving these writings behind in this very unusual way as a sort of last resort. You see, it has been more than 60 years since Uncle George and I discovered the cave. Having hidden the chest some 20 years ago, I have not given it much thought for a long time. I'm now in my 80s, and this may be my last time to go hunting. It occurred to me this week that I have never told anyone where I hid the chest, since I might not get back this way again. I'd better do something to see that it will someday be found. You will need to find the chest and also the keys. To find the chest, go from where you found the metal box, following the creek, up the hill about 300 yards. There, between some good-sized rocks and the scrub oak, you'll find the chest, wrapped in plastic and covered with an old sheet. To find the keys, look near the exit from the Timpanogos Cave. I've included a picture to point you to what you're looking for. Good luck.